welcome to the 26th session of Samvada. Today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the speaker, Pratibha, who's our colleague at the Office of Communications. Pratibha joined IASC in June 2022, and she has been working with us she's been contributing to writing and editing articles for Connect magazine, which many of you have seen, and various news items that appear in the newspapers, and also managing IASC social media. She's one of our most fun persons to work with in the office, and she brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the office every day. So please give a round of applause to welcome Pratibha.
Good afternoon, good evening to everyone present here. I am Pratibha, like Ranjini introduced. I am an editorial assistant at the Office of Communications. And believe it or not, I was just born like hop, skip and jumps away from here in Sumati Nursing Home in Mattikere. So I was born in Bangalore. I've been in Bangalore for most of my life. True blue Bangalorean at heart. Kannada chennag baratte, but for the sake of this talk that will be recorded and posted on the internet, I will keep it to English. And also before I start, I would like to thank my colleagues for asking me to do this because this was actually a very good exercise because it made me self-reflect on my life, and I had to think about, okay, what should I talk about? And in doing so, I went down the memory lane and I went through a lot of experiences, and I had to parse through all the memories and try to think of what it is that I can talk here that might be helpful to you as well and might be exciting for me also. And the thing that I landed on was reading. I have been a reader all my life, and a few months ago, or I think at least last year or 2 years back, my cousin kind of asked me this question, which has been on my mind since then. She asked me, hey, how did you start reading? My kid is at that age and I want her to develop that hobby of reading. So how did you start reading? And that question actually stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, that is very interesting because I don't know myself how I started to read, because nobody in my family reads. At least novels. So when I say read, I mean novels, fictional books. None of my close family, not my parents, not my brother. In school, no. So it was actually very surprising to me how I developed this hobby, and I tried to since then I've tried to understand what it is exactly that actually got me interested in reading. I still don't have a very clear answer to that question, but I did. I remember school days, we were in the library. There was a library period where we were only allowed to step into the library only then. Otherwise, we were not allowed to step into the library, and the librarian was a very lethargic, uninterested person who did not even have the library organized. So I was always like, oh, you know what, I'm going to help her organize the library. I think that was my actually first career interest, if I'm being honest. Then she would give us these very short, like 50-page notebooks, which I would finish in like 5 minutes and, just look around at what other people were doing. And I would, the first thing that I would do was finish the notebook and only then talk to my friends. And I wouldn't do that, like only after I finish the book would I talk. And even if my friends called me and asked me, hey, what are you doing? Like, this, no, I would make sure that I finished reading the entire story before I spoke to them. And the next thing would be that maybe my parents did notice that I was interested in reading because they were the ones who got me my first ever book. I have the third part because I think my dad got the first part, the third and the fourth together because he couldn't find the second one. And the first part, I will tell you about that later because I lended it to somebody and learnt a lot what happens if you lend to people who don't respect books also. So this is the oldest book, I guess, which I have in my collection. And yeah, for a very long time, I was very proud that, I have read all the Harry Potter books, like, I have read the books. Like, so even if the movies are wrong, or if you are a fan of the Harry Potter books just because of the movies, then you know what, I'm better because I have read the books. uh, this kind of continued, and fast forward to my college days. This was when the internet was just coming up, and I was fortunate enough to have internet at home. My brother loved computers, so we had Wi-Fi, and I got on YouTube or Instagram, and then I found out about this book community online where suddenly there were all of these people who have read like hundreds of books, and they claim like they had shelves in their houses, like decorated with like books and all these toys and knickknacks. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, you know what, my world just got bigger all of a sudden. There were all of these recommendations that these people would like give online, and I was like, yeah, cool, let me try. Like, what's wrong in trying what they recommend? And with whatever meager pocket money that I had, I tried to like buy books either online, or I would go to shops and get books and start reading them. And yeah, I enjoyed reading. I think the first time one of my friends gifted me a book for my birthday, I was so shocked that I couldn't express how happy I was to her. But I did show how much it meant to me because I read that book in like 24 hours. And she herself was surprised. I went to the office, I went to college next day, like with like 2 hours of sleep. And she was like, what is wrong with you? Why did you like lose your sleep to read that book? But I was like, it was very interesting. I'm sorry, like, I loved the book. And this is how my journey kept going. Also, I think I should mention that my cousin around this time would like, talk to me, and he would ask like, oh, what are you reading? Like, what are you doing? Like how you meet cousins at a family event and they just ask you like, hey, what's going on? And I mentioned to him that, yeah, you know what, I'm reading this series. It sounds very interesting. It's a fantasy genre novel. Like, and he would be like, oh, really? No. You should try reading, like, Born Identity, like Robert Ludlum, like read a spy thriller, like mystery book. Like, why are you reading this? Like, nonsense. And I don't know if he meant it as a joke or if he was actually being sarcastic or if he actually meant it, but I think that was the first time where I felt, okay, maybe I should not read this, or is it so wrong to read something that is not, not acceptable, or like there was nothing wrong with it. Like, I don't know what his problem was anyway, but that interaction kind of made me hesitate to talk about books to other people, which I think continued even till now. I'm very hesitant to recommend books to people because also because I don't know what they might like, or I'm afraid that I will be judged for what I read. But you know what? I still continued reading, taking recommendations, reading all of the books. Then fast forward to my MSc days where I was trying to figure out, okay, what's my next step? What should I do? Should I do a PhD or should I look for a job? What do I want to do with my life? Is there anything that I'm interested in? And my best friend was like, hey, you like reading, so why don't you try writing? And I don't know how she made that connection, but it kind of helped me shift my path towards writing from reading. And because I had studied science, I never wanted to let go of science, so I switched gears to science writing. And eventually I went to US for another master's. And when I went to US, that was another shift in my reading journey, I would guess, because I came across their library systems, and I was like, cool, I don't have to spend money on books. I can just, get a library card and just borrow books and read them, then give it back. And I had an access to a lot of books. I also came across this concept of author signing and read-alongs where authors would sign your books for you. That was a very interesting thing to me, which I continued even after I came back. But still, I would guess I continued to read whatever I found interesting. Then after I came back, like, I think along the way I have collected a lot of books, which only some of them you can see here. All of this is to say that for me, reading has been a very interesting and personal journey. It sort of gives me an escape from the dull reality of life, and it doesn't matter if it is a thriller or a mystery novel, or if it's a magical land filled with like witches and muggles and like dragons, and you have a lot of these interesting plots. And now after so many years, I even have the chance to even talk to authors, and this gives me another perspective of how difficult or how challenging it is to write a book. It might be one thing for me to like get a book and read it all in one go, but the amount of years the author has put down to write the book. So for example, I got to speak to Harini Nagendra, who has written the Bangalore Detectives Club series, and she told me that she took 12 years to write the first book, which was actually very surprising for me. I read and finished the book in one day because it was so interesting, but it took her 12 years to write one. And of course, she said that, most of it was because it was her first fictional book, and, there was a lot of procrastination that she had to overcome, but still, the amount of research that went into writing that book, even though it's a fictional book, she based a lot of it on Bangalore and Bangalore in the 1900s. So there was a lot of research that was put into it. So I have an idea of how difficult it is for authors themselves to write a book if it is rooted in history, and even if it is plain fantasy or science fiction where the author has to build the entire world from ground up. I know how challenging it is, and because of my writing and my editing skills, that is one thing that I can even focus on when I read new novels now. I kind of think more about how this person has built up this world, and what all have they taken into account, and how difficult it is. And the main thing is that it should be relatable, right? So if the book is not relatable, you will not enjoy it. And all my favorite authors, when I analyze their writing or when I analyze books that I have read, what I find more interesting is that they have written these characters in such a human and relatable way that, you are on this journey with them. You go through the things they go through, and at the end, it's like even they have grown up and they have faced challenges, and together with them, even you have faced challenges. So in that way, it's a perfect escape for me. I can just open a book and just get lost in that world and forget about what is going on around me. So last week I was a tea princess who ran away from her kingdom, and she got to find out what she wanted to do with her life. Last month I was an out of work journalist who kind of figured out that there was a murder in her family, and somehow she's connected to it. And then last year I was like this very very bad what books did I read last year? So it's very it's been a very fun journey. And if somebody here is interested in pursuing it as a hobby, and or you want somebody else to be a reader, or you want to support or help somebody become a reader, I would just say don't force yourself. It's not that I've been reading every single day or every day for the past few years. Even I got off the bandwagon a couple of times. There were some months or maybe even years where I did not read a lot. I couldn't read any like novels even if I tried my best, so I just let it go. So it's not something that you have to do every single day, and it's not like you have to read every book also. That was a very interesting revelation for me, that if I'm not I read a couple of pages, and if I'm not interested or if the book doesn't excite me, I just put the book down, because it's not for me right now. But the book will not go anywhere. It will just be there until you are ready to face the book, or like you are ready to read the story. So in that way, I guess you don't have to force yourself to read every book or read every day to enjoy it. And also there are a lot of different styles of writing, lot of different genres that you can try. Just because somebody tells you that they like mystery or fiction, or a thriller, or a very like action packed, like sci-fi, like movie, like novels, you don't have to like that or read that. Just like whatever you come across. Very good to go to bookstores and just browse around to see what will interest you. And recently I did get closer to the answer of how come you got into reading, because I found out that my great grandfather actually also read books. And he, not just newspapers, he read novels as well. He would go to libraries and read a lot of novels, is what my grandmother told me. So that I felt very acknowledged by that. And then I met my grandmother's brother who lives in Pune, and even he told me that he loved reading, and he was trying to clear away all of his stash of books. So he just gave me a stash of books for me to bring back here. So that was another instance where I got to like understand more about my family and maybe where my reading roots came from. Yeah, so just I would like to end this with the quote from George R.R. Martin, who said that a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads only lives one. Thank you.
No, you ask. Summary is over.
Actually, no.
It's over. Okay.
I mean, because like recently I came across a lot of people talking about classics, and I wanted to try reading classics. Emma and Wuthering Heights, or is it called Wuthering Heights? I don't know. I'm sorry if the pronunciation is wrong. Those I found them very hard because the English itself is like old school, and it's very hard to like understand in just one read. So I had to readjust my brain. So I was like, okay, no, this requires a different amount of concentration. So I was like, no, I will come back to it later. That was, I think, I started, but I didn't finish. I think until now, the only book that I have begrudgingly like hated every page, I don't know if I should say this because it will go on record. But this book is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and I hated that book. I finished it. I still finished it, but I really hated that book because there are no quotations or quotes, or there is no punctuation whatsoever in her book, and I found it very hard to read. Like, where is the quote ending, and where is the author talking, and where is the character talking, and like where is this all going? Like, there is no beginning, there is no end. It was very jarring to my mind. So, but even still, I finished that book. I will probably not be reading anything by that author. Unless, a lot of people around me are talking, but no. Yeah. that's an interesting question actually, because even though this series got me interested, it's been a very long time since I reread this series. I've tried to kind of like keep it. I would say there is one series by Rick Riordan called the Percy Jackson series, which I read when I was in college. So for me, it felt like reading Harry Potter again, because it is meant for middle school kids, and it was like I got my childhood back. It was so funny, it was so relatable, and very interesting. The writing just flows so well, and he just builds it up so good. So that is one series that I go back to in terms of at least fiction. Non-fiction or slightly other genres, I would say there is one by Janice Parayat called Everything the Light Touches. Even that book is really good. She talks about botany. I have a love for botany. So that book was also very enjoyable. Oh, actually, one author that I met was I interned at an aquarium in Boston, and they had invited a science writer who had written a book on octopuses. Octopuses? I don't know. Yeah, her name is Sai Montgomery, and she had a book signing as well. But she had a talk before her book signing, where she spoke about her whole experience with the book and how she got to write this book about octopus and different types of octopus, where she had to learn scuba diving. And we didn't talk a lot when I went to get my book signed, but she did acknowledge that, oh, you're also like a science writer, like how did you find the talk, like was it good? Good to know, like I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, so that is one thing that as a science writer myself, I was like, oh, you can actually write books, even if they are like non-fiction. You can write such good books and make it very interesting for the reader, is what I had experienced.
Hi. So, can you tell a bit about all those books you have displayed there? And a second question, this could be a silly one. So in regarding Harry Potter series, which character do you think you relate to the most? Because I am getting a lot of Luna energy from you.
What? Luna? Oh my god. I mean, like I said, right, when I read it when I was a kid myself, so maybe if I reread it, I might change my mind, but I always related to Hermione because she was a nerd, and that is what everybody else called me at school, like Hermione, like nerd. Yeah, so that is what I related to myself, but I don't think I am. Thank you though. Let me reevaluate. This book is actually very interesting. Thank you for asking me to talk about them. I think for a point of time, one of my cousins stayed in Belgaum, and I went to visit her during the summer holidays. And there, I think when we were looking for things to do, there was this book expo where there were these books, and by chance. It's called The Lost Art of Keeping Secrets by Eva Rice, and it's a nice book. I think it takes place in like 1950s after the World War in London, where the protagonist is her name is Penelope, and her mom has this old house that is crumbling down, and she's trying to Penelope is trying to like calm down her mother because they lost their father for the war, and she has a younger brother who's like who wants to become the next Elvis Presley, and he's trying to go into music and all of that. So this was very interesting because it took me to history. I think this was one of the books that made me very interested in historical fiction, and this one This one is when like I said, when I came across the BookTube or book community online, and at that time I think Sarah J. Maas was I think she's still popular now, but the opinion is divided. The second book in this series was like really good, and this was one of the things I finished it in one day. This is the fourth one. The series is called A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's a retelling on the Beauty and the Beast, but anyway, this is that one. This one is the non-fiction book I got for to improve my writing, but I have only read a couple of pages. I need to finish it. This one is a very recent read. It's hardcover. Sorry, I love hardcovers. It's called What You Are Looking For in a Library, and it's a very I don't know if it's just me, but stories from Japan or that have been translated from Japan are very interesting. They are not like these other books where you have a plot and there is a pace and you're just running. Like the character has so many things going on, like you can't keep up with anything. The stories that if you read from Japan are very slow paced. They're very mundane and it's actually lifelike. It's like there's nothing wrong, but slowly the writer will introduce a magical element which is just very fascinating, that will keep you hooked and you keep reading. This one is about a librarian who gives you books according to what you need, and the whole plot is that she does it very magically, and she gives books to people exactly what people are looking for. And there are stories which are kind of interconnected, and it's very interesting. If you are at a point where you don't know what you want to do next, or if you're in that standpoint in life where, okay, what do I do, or what is my next step, I don't know what I'm doing, this would be a very good book, because it will make you like reflect on what it is you actually want to do. This one, as I mentioned, it's Harini Nagendra's. This is the second book, Murder on the Red Moon. The Bangalore Detectives Club, I have actually loaned it to one of my colleagues. Yes, successfully loaned it. Also, I wanted to mention that finally, I'm at a point where if somebody asks me to lend them a book, I do give it to them, because I know that they also respect books. The first Harry Potter series book that I gave to a neighbor was never returned to me, which I still find very, very insulting. Anyway, yeah, this one is the second book in the series. It's really good. Very kind of fast paced, but it's in a sari. Like she's in a sari. Come on, like she solves mysteries and murder in sari. So
Something about that elements of style as well.
Oh, elements. Oh, this one is I think a staple in every writer's corner. I myself have been coming back to it for a lot of time. It's kind of like a manual where he just lays down points for you, like what you need, what is important in writing. The first thing is like always cut down unnecessary words, keep your sentences short, avoid adjectives wherever possible. So it's kind of like a grammar / manual that it's going to be very useful if you are a writer or if you want to write. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, one more question. So, how different is reading a book compared to watching a movie?
oh okay, this is my personal opinion and I will fight for it, but the book is always better. Hands down, 100%, the book is always better. But I also agree that there are constraints when you turn a book into a movie, because a movie is shorter. It has to be within 1.5-2 hours, and there are a lot of things that you have to cut down in sense to make room for the whole thing to flow. You have a lot to say in just like 1.5 hours. So I know some not some, mostly everybody, all directors, all producers take that decision to like, cut off scenes and, make the movie to make it like in time and within whatever is more important. But I don't know, the book is always better. And I have read so many series that have been from. That is why if I get to know that any series or any movie is based on a book, I try my best to read the book before the movie or the series comes out, because I know for sure that they are going to mess it up somehow or the other. So for me personally, books are better, but there are people who don't read as much, and they would. A movie is easier to get the point across.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Hello, ma'am. Do you have any kind of a book which like haunted you for a very, very long time?
I will have to think about this. I would say I read a book recently called the Starling House, which was my first actually kind of step into horror. It's not actually horror; it's not Stephen King, I guess, but it was my entry into horror, and the ending of that book was kind of open-ended. So that has been on my mind for until now, at least. Yeah.
Ma'am, can you describe what it is about, like, 2-3 lines? Like a summary?
So in that, the protagonist is she's probably a young adult or an adult who's trying to get her brother out of the small town that they live in, and bad things keep happening in that town, and she just wants her brother to have a good life. Her mom would have gotten into a car crash and would have died a couple of years ago, so she's the only one for her kid brother, and she wants to make things okay for him. And the whole point of that town is centered around a very old house called the Starling House, and people say that it's haunted, and they say that if you go inside, like, you're not going to be able to come out and all of that. But for some reason, this protagonist is always kind of attracted towards the house. She gets dreams about the house where it's like the house is calling to her. So the whole point of the story begins like, is she going to overcome her obsession with the house, and is she going to enter the house, and what eventually happens after she does enter the house.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. But one more thing. I myself am a reader, but I read a fiction a lot, and I usually get this, that most of my friends keep saying that stop being in fiction and be in reality.
Okay.
Have you ever got this from any of your friends? How do you deal with them?
Oh,
Because usually I don't listen to it because I
that is
love
so
reading
rude.
fiction. Yeah, I get that a lot.
So rude.
Because so many people.
Whoever told that to you, please tell them that like you're being rude. I mean, stories exist for a reason, right? I mean, yeah, of course, life is horrible, life is bad, or your life is actually pretty good, and but still, like, there are some things that you get from stories that you cannot actually get from life. I mean, show me who can do magic. Like, come on, like, we know magic is not real, but we still, like, it's a kind of hope that's inside that, like, a wish, like, what if it was, like, for half an hour of your day, you can just, shut down everything, and you can just go and live in that other world where magic does exist. And it's not like, nothing is, it's not like you don't get anything out of reading a book. You do actually get, like, my vocabulary, most of it is because of all the books that I have read. All of it is from books that I have read. My comprehension, my reading, even me speaking here is also kind of because of that also. the partial confidence that I get from reading. It makes me empathetic to everybody. I know if you go online and Google like benefits of reading books, the first thing they'll be like, oh, it makes people more empathetic. I don't know how true it is, but it's I think it does work some way. You will, because you have lived it so many lives. As a reader, it'll be easier for you to empathize if somebody is going through something. It'll be easier for you to be compassionate because you will kind of understand that okay, these things do happen. It's not like it's all what they're saying is nonsense, or you can't just. You will not be that person who tells, hey, grow up, like, you know, things are to be done, like, stop being annoying. You will never be that person who tells that. So you can tell this to your friend. That's so rude. Stop living.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
And one last question. Like, we have so many writers, like especially the Indian writers. But what is your, it's like quite critical question for you, but what is your take? Why we are preferring so many like writers from the other countries than the Indian writers? Because Indian writers do, like, we have very good books, but they are not really popular.
Yeah, I think one is because the hold on English language by other writers is that great, right? It's their first language. They are born. I mean, UK or most of the writers that I have read, I am branching out my genre. I am reading Indian authors more, and I am trying to read other languages also. But one, I would say, a point of difference that I noticed is because their hold on, it's their language and they have a lot more control over it. That is one reason that I think I find very interesting. But we are getting there. A lot of Indian authors write very beautifully. It's not like just because our primary language is not English or was not English. I don't know. Right now, everybody wants to talk in English. No, yeah. See, even now I'm talking English. First language in schools is English. So yeah, we are getting there. There are a lot of like new authors. The other thing is, I think, publicity. More people should know about these authors to read them and, you know, spread around news that hey, this author is writing. This author's writing is like actually really good. You need to try this book. Yeah, that is the other thing. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pratibha, and thank you all for joining us today. We have high tea outside, I guess. Yes, we have high tea. We can go there.